Hey guys, welcome back. I know it's been a while, but we've got another interesting one here. This is another one of the batch from Texas, one of the last couple I have left to do, and this one is a real project here. It's the paint is like almost completely gone on it. All the metal that was on here that was black is rusty. Cast iron base is just a layer of rust now. Um, even even the metal parts here where this attaches, that's that was black. It's rusty. This was like chrome. It's rusty. Um, even the label is even faded right out on it. So it's rusty down in here. I mean, it's just full of rust. The lever here, this thing does still operate. But the bearing on here is pretty gummed up, and has nothing else came with this except for the juicer attachment, which no longer wants to turn. So I'm gonna have to see if I can do something with that there, and that should set. That should set in here, yeah, just like that. And then of course juicer roll goes on top and everything. But let's plug it in and see if this thing even runs. The cord's looking a bit sketchy as well. It's got, I can see wire through it there. Alright, and it doesn't even run. I mean, it hums at high speed, but that's about it. So it's seized up to boot. So I guess let's get into it and start taking her apart here. Let's get this crappy cord off of it, which isn't the original cord either. It looks like it was a white vacuum cleaner cord somebody put on. And you can see the brushes are worn down pretty good. Surprisingly though, this screw came right out. Looks like it's just the outside of it that's rusted. So I'm going to work this handle off nice and carefully. And there seems to be like a layer of corrosion on the housing here. Alright, got the handle off carefully. Let's start peeling off parts on the front here. Make sure y'all can see. Yeah, even that's kind of pitted looking. Alright, let's go ahead and take this gearbox cover off. And I'm thinking this is probably where we're going to find everything is seized up inside. Alright, these screws are kind of rusty on the surface as well. See if we can coax this out of here. Alright. This one turns, but barely. Same with that one. They're like really seized up and they're good. And the grease you can see is like non-existent. Same thing on the front here, you can see there's really no grease on the front here. But the motor shaft doesn't turn at all. So, not only are these practically seized, the motor shaft itself is seized up. So it's not looking too good for this one right now. So yeah, this one's going to be pretty interesting. Let's see if we can't get this thing to go. There's no telling how long it's been non-functional. What? I should probably take it off the stand for this because I do believe this may also have secondary brushes in here. Fasteners seem to be coming right out though. Of course, I haven't tried to get the set screws out of the shafts yet. That could be a completely different story. Well, this is a Model C Hamilton Beach. Probably early 30s, early to mid 1930s. Alright. Get all of our wires disconnected here. And I guess this didn't have secondary brushes, so don't have to worry about it. Let's see if we can separate this now. It's not wanting to go very easily. Hung up right at that bushing right there. It all. What worries me is I'm not going to be able to get the armature out either. Get some stuff on here and let it soak. Alright, so after letting it soak for a while, lubing it up and getting some down inside here and working at it, finally able to get this out here with the bushing. and obviously that's going to need some frickin' work on it. So here we've got the speed control plate, which makes contact with these here, and looks like they're pretty dirty too. So I've got a lot of work on this, and I still can't turn this armature in here. I think it's seized up the back too, so I'll have to work on that when we get down there to it. Do it later. Yeah, I'll have to get some of this stuff down in there later. Actually, it works pretty good. I wasn't sure how well of a penetrant it would be, but it definitely seems to work good. I see these studs are pretty rusty here as well. This whole thing is just rusty. I don't know if it was stored outside or in a damp basement or what the deal is with it, but yeah, that's pretty crusty, rusty and crusty. Now let's get some of that on here to help me get these nuts off the threads. Yeah, this one's a freaking disaster. We'll find out once we get into it a little bit more if it's even going to be worth putting it back together. I know as of right now the armature isn't going to want to come out. Look at it, right through the rust. That's pretty impressive. Alright, got those out. Let's see if we can get this to move here. I may have to try to get some more penetrant in here. Let it get in here between the armature and the rear of the housing. If I can get it to spin, then I know it's loose, but right now it's just that movement there is just the bushing inside to move back and forth, but there's no real movement on it. Alright, I'm going to let this soak, and we'll come back and check on it. Alright, so after letting this soak for a while, spraying it, letting it soak, and much screwing around, did manage to get the armature out, but not the way that I wanted. That come out with the bushing still attached, so I'm assuming it's just rusted right to the bushing there. This also has, you can see, sort of see here, this has string wrapped around it for a oil wick. And the same at the top here too, which you really can't see because it's kind of gooey. But the armature actually overall looks pretty good. It's got very little, it does have some wear where the brushes ride, but very little. But this whole thing is going to have to be cleaned up good and polished up well. And this is, I'm going to have to get this off here. I guess I'm going to have to carefully get that off. But I don't know, I'll worry about that later, because for now I still got to get the fuel coil out of here. And now I get to my clips on the brush holders. And I get those popped off. Now let's see if we can get our fuel coil loose. It seems to be on there pretty good. This is going to be a little more interesting than I was hoping for. I see I do have some access to the back of it. It does seem to be helping it out. Careful here. I don't damage actual coils in here. Alright. There we go. Now we've got the fuel coil out. That looks pretty rusty, grungy. The wiring at first glance seems decent. We'll clean it up and get a better look at it. Now I'm feeling a bit more confident here. And this here is the RF filter condenser, and this is just going to get tossed. If I can even get it out of here. And that's glued up in place here. Okay, all the wires came off it, but I'm going to have to wait until I get it heated up and heat up this casing, and I should be able to pull that out of there. See if these brush holders will come out. Huh. That one came out through the inside. I wonder if this one will do the same for me. There seems to be a buildup on the outside, on the inside to keep it from coming out. Just like build up a funk on there. There we go. Alright. I think there's still a spring in here. Or something. Whatever held that bushing in. Yep. looks like it's just rusted away. There we go. Yeah, you can see it's all rusted and crappy. Debris of what's left of some of the wick in there. Alright. So aside from heating it up and getting that RF filter out, the only thing that's left on here is the badge. I'll have to see what I can do to clean up this badge on here. I mean, it looks, you know, right at place on here with the paint missing and everything on the machine, but once this thing's all redone, you know, you're going to want the badge to look a little better than it does. I'm not sure where the battery cut out at on there, but got the plate off of here. While I was at it, I pulled the bushing and the spring out of this front plate here, being that that's going to come out anyways. And I mean, these are interesting. They're just like the other bushings in like model, you know, E, G, and later, except they're a little smaller. They've got a combination of string wrapped around it for the wicks, a couple other small felt wicks stacked up in the bottom, and another wick around the top. And the spring, they do got a spring that holds them in, but that locks in, you know, about halfway down this hole here, so that's a real chore to get to. So we're gonna have fun putting that back together, but right now my main concern was getting it apart so we get it degreased. Anyway, so we got that apart, we got this apart. I'm gonna set these aside here, and we'll set this over there, and we'll move some of these other parts out of the way. And it has to do with bushings over here as well. All kinds of crap from that. But I want to see if I can get these to rotate at all here. I'm going to try and find the set screw. Yeah, there's really like no grease left in these at all. Alright, there's one set screw there. Not surprisingly, that set screw was like incredibly loose. I'm going to go ahead and just pull it all the way out. Let's see if we can find the other one just as easily. This is the shaft that is extremely hard to turn. The whole piece on here is just hard. You basically gotta scrape it off. That set screw is incredibly loose too, so I'm happy to see that, because you know, these HBs, a lot of times these set screws can be crap. Now, I'm not so sure how well this is going to want to come out of here. I was kind of hoping they would come out pretty easy, but I know that's a bit much to ask. although this one here is moved. There we go. This is an interesting setup here because you can't unscrew it just pull them down, but you got to kind of unscrew it to pull your shafts out. Well, you don't really have to, but if they're screwed up tight, there's this like a rubberized type of bushing here that will crimp on that and make it harder to get out. So anyways, there's one shaft and a knurled end. But if you unscrew these, you have something to grip onto to help you pull your shaft out. Get that gear out of there. Make sure that the washers are both out. Yeah, this one is really stuck in there good, but of course this is the one that's got the juicer part sticking up there, so it's got extra area for it to get seized up. And it looks like I'm starting to get it going. There we go. So you can see the difference in the length of these. This one's got extra surface area there to get stuck in there. Alright, let's get this out with both the washers. And like I said, there's really not much in the way of grease here. Just basically like a residue in there. And we'll throw this thing in the degreaser anyways and get the residue off. And then we've also got this piece on here by the juicer. I doubt it's going to come off like this. Usually I got to heat them up. So what I'll probably do is just heat that up with the heat gun, and then it'll pop right off at that point, and we can polish that up before we put it back on. So we've got the motor, believe it or not, completely disassembled now. This is something I'm going to work on. So now we're going to turn our attention to the base here. Let's see if I can get the turntable off of there. There we go. Right, you can see it's got bearings on the bottom here, and they just really need to be lubricated good. And then this has got, rust on the bottom. It's got a lot of rust in here, so we'll have to see what we can actually do with that. All right, this has got a like an acorn nut on here, knurled acorn nut. And there's a jam nut and a screw underneath here, which is your height adjustment on these, which is really interesting. It's different than a lot of the other ones. Like the fueling ends, not going to want to come off easily. Right, and of course this is a oddball size. It's 11/32 for this jam nut. Hopefully this thing will come off. That was good. Jam nut's pulling off, but the set screw doesn't want to move now. Alright. Let me get the jam nut off. Trying to figure out how I want to get the set screw off of there. But I can see it rusted, so I think I'm going to go ahead and just spray it up now. Stuff seems to work pretty good. Wasn't sure about it. See down here, you can see how rusty that really looks there. And I'll go ahead with this too. Stuff does seem to work really well as a penetrating oil. So I'm going to go ahead and just spray it, let it soak, and then I'll come back as soon as I think that's set enough. Okay, so I gave up on trying to get this out here. I soaked it, I heated it, I did everything. The end down here where the screwdriver goes is wonked out as well, so I can't get a good bite on it with that. I can't really grip it with anything because it's mostly threads on here, so I can't damage that. So I'm just going to end up leaving that in there. Maybe, you know, once it comes out of the oven and this cast iron has been heated up good, you know, maybe I can get it out then. But for right now, I can't get it out now. So I did start working on this pin here, and then I realized, you know, I didn't have the camera going, so I want to go ahead and get this pin out here. And that way we can get this neck off of here. Also a rusty piece of crap right here too, but it is moving, so that's a good sign. It just doesn't seem to be moving well. It does appear like it's just about out of there. See how rusty that is. It should theoretically come right out, but like everything else, you know, it's going to protest some. Well, most of the way. Let's see if we can go back and forth with it here. This one doesn't really want to budge out of here, does it? Maybe I can get it to a certain point, and then it's pretty much done. Okay, it's a little taller. Should be just about out now. rust is just holding it up big time. There. That's going to have to get cleaned and polished up good. That thing's rusty. And here's our neck. I just got to heat this up, pop this off, get this to expand, and it'll pop right off of there. And you can see how rusty the other end of that is there. So yeah, there's no way. I don't think I'm going to ever get that out. But let's work on the bottom here. Hopefully this bowl adjustment will come off. There we go. You see we've got a screw, rusty washer, and a spring. And the spring, believe it or not, isn't rusty. There's our lever. Rusty both sides. So we'll have to get that done up. And this part here, this isn't rusty because this is aluminum, but this is the part that rode in here. So you can see how tight of a tolerance that is on there, so we got to be really careful we don't powder coat the edge of this or that lip in there, because you know, with as tight as that is, if we get any powder coat in there, this probably isn't going to fit. So that's another thing we got to watch for. So all we have left is to pop our feet out of here, which strangely enough, there's this foot looks like it was replaced and it's a little bit taller than the others. And I was kind of worried these weren't going to come out either. Figured these would be rusted in there. These feet all were replaced at one point. And like I said, it looks like one of them was just replaced with a taller foot than the others. And that one was put together with a bent, broken screw. Yeah, and here's the one that's going to give us trouble. See if I can get the foot to shred off of here. There we go. Yeah, you can see how rusty that is. That's sucking pretty bad. I don't know if I can get a grip on it with this or not. Don't like the way that feels. I'll get some penetrant on there and let that sit. And I'll try and take it out. Alright, so I'm sure that's probably going to come out. We got to get all of our parts cleaned, degreased, get them sandblasted, and get everything set up for powder coat. And we got a lot of work to do on the inside parts here. I still got to get this bushing off of here without damaging it because it's smaller than the other HB bushings. We got to clean and polish up this armature. And actually we're going to test it too to make sure that it's good before we put everything back together. I'm assuming that it is. I think this thing is just rust and grime seized everything up on here. But as you can tell, we do got our work cut out for us. So once we get all this prepped and done, then we'll come back and we'll put everything back together. Alright, well, we got this one done, and it was a chore, let me tell you. We got every screw on here was rusty. Threads were rusted on them, so not only did the heads and the slots have to be cleaned off, but we had to clean the threads off on them. The bushings were wrapped with this string here, and had these pieces of felt washers down in there, so of course they were disintegrated, so I had to cut new felt out of this piece of wool felt I got here. I had to cut some new felt washers to put behind the bushings, and wrap felt around the bushings where the string would go, and get those situated in there. Yeah, it was just overall it was just a lot of work on this one here. As you go to assemble something, you realize that something still isn't quite right, so you got to take care of that. So that's why there's no video of reassembly on this thing, because actually I've been working on this thing for a couple days now, getting this reassembled. So it would have been an atrociously long and really boring video, but so I figured I'd just pick at it and get everything done, and then get a video up for you. This right here was extremely rusted and pitted, so we got this powder coat. This is chrome powder coat, but when you put the chrome on it, it looks just like you had it chrome plated, but you have to spray clear on it to protect it, because the chrome scratches easy and stains easy and stuff like that. It's not a standalone finish. It needs a clear on it, so of course it doesn't really look as chrome like once you get the chrome, or once you get the clear on there. Same with this piece under here, and this here. These were all really bad. They were far too bad to polish up, so they had to be powder coated. This little nut back here, and this piece here, after we had the corrosion, we found this was brass. These were brass, and the part here where the cord goes was brass, so we just polished those up and put those back on. Painted the slider knob here, and cleaned up the faceplate as best as we could, which is that's got some pitting on it and everything too. This whole thing was just corroded bad. Even this, where the paint was coming off, it was corroded. There's a couple spots you can see right here where it looks like a little bit of pitting, and I believe right here you can see actual pitting in the housing. But like I said, it was corroded extremely bad. So we got a new cord on it. We got the cast iron base done. Got the ball lever operating nice and smooth. Everything's nice and clean now. We put new brushes in here because the brushes were worn down. Polished up the juicer and got that lubricated good, so that turns nice and free now. If you remember before, this thing would barely turn, so that turns nice and free now. And yeah, that's about it. And I say it's about it, but I mean it was a lot of work on this one here. But I mean, the end result is really nice. I mean, it looks really good now. So the only problem with the speed, I mean, it runs nice and everything, but on speed 1, the way this is a 120 watt motor, but that's on high. It's on full 120 watts, and what it does is it cuts it down. Probably 80 watts and 40 watts, so 2 would be 80 watts and 1 is probably 40 watts. It does it through the windings in the field coil, and it just doesn't seem to have enough power to spin it up at speed 1 on its own. See, I put it there and it'll just hum, but if I go to 2, it'll fire right up. And go up to 3. Back down to 2. So now if I go to 1, it'll run, it may be less than 40 watts. I mean, it's extremely slow. So to get 1 to turn, you have to go to 2 and 3, and I don't even know what speed 1 would, or what 1 would mix up at that low power output. Probably just maybe dry ingredients or whatever, but anyways, it does run though. I'm surprised as bad as this thing was when we took it apart with everything seized and rusted. Every bushing was seized, the beater shafts were seized, the rear bushing was seized to the armature, and the whole armature itself wouldn't even turn. and when we finally got the armature out, the bushing came out still seized onto it, so that was a chore to get off as well. But we did manage to get everything taken apart on here and back together, and it does run. So, and it looks good too. It's a really nice looking machine. So we're gonna get this one set and ready to. Well, this one's getting picked up in April, but you know, we're gonna get this one put away, and we'll get started on the next one. So hopefully the next one will go a little bit quicker, and I can get more video of it for you guys. And you know, I know you guys like to see the reassembly and all that. I did get video of the armature on here had to be turned down, and I did get video of that for you guys, since a lot of you guys have been asking about that. I got video of turning it down and getting it all polished up. So I'll post that up in a separate video with add a couple other things to it, and you know, get a video up with things that you guys have been asking for. So if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I will get back to it as soon as I can. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you didn't like it, then, you know, sorry, don't know what to tell you. But don't forget to subscribe and click that bell so you'll be notified when we post more videos, because, you know, we do have cool stuff like this coming up. We got some really cool stuff actually coming up here soon. Just a matter of getting to it. I got a few that's got to be reassembled, and then we'll get to some really interesting ones. So anyways, thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next one.